Hi everyone, you're back with the Lone Wolf. Welcome to the show. My topic today is xual, Transmutation. I can't use its proper name, or the Skynet Big Brother word search algorithm will report me to the Ministry of Love. I'm going to talk about what ST is and how to achieve it and what it means to implement it in your daily life. I think this video will be very valuable for my audience, but especially the younger men in their late teens or early 20s in particular. My understanding of xual transmutation is that it is the repurposing or redirection of erotic energies and directing those towards your ambitions, goals and pursuits. This could be your career, artwork, writing, lifting at the gym, your blog, musical pursuits and endeavors, projects, business, investing, and pretty much anything else you can really think of. In this case, I think the first order of business for any man is to develop absolute clarity on what they want from their life, what they think that their life should look like. Without a goal to drive towards, you really are all at sea. Once you have this in place, you can strategize on how to attain it, and implementing ST will be that much easier. The rationale behind ST is that the male drive to reproduce is an incredibly powerful force, especially from the late teens to early 40s, give or take. And when misdirected or poorly controlled, it can cause a great deal of pain and suffering. Sadly, many of us are not coached to harness this energy in any meaningful way. In the era we live in, men especially are bombarded with thousands of stimulating images on Instagram, Facebook, on the subway, at the gym, girls with yoga pants everywhere, not to mention the uncountable amount of free prawn available on the internet. It is very easy to become addicted to expending your pent-up energies because, let's face it, as a young man in the current culture, even if you're doing rather well, it is extremely difficult to obtain bedroom fun. Therefore, it's very easy to fall into a trap of self-stimulation, and it's something I've struggled with from time to time as well. It's not a natural thing to be surrounded by so much of this content in our daily lives, having it at our beck and call on a mobile phone. This is something our male ancestors could never dream of, and it has affected us for the worse. I'm sure you found that once you have a release, you're no longer interested in women from that perspective for a good while. It is therefore tempting to extinguish your desire using these methods, but this isn't actually productive. ST allows you to maximize your productivity and likelihood of success by repurposing your energy, resources and vigor that would otherwise be wasted on asinine excursions, such as pursuing women in nightclubs, on Tinder, paying for OnlyFans. Why would you do that? Paying for online dating like Match, POF, paying for dates only to be frustrated at the end. All of this only serves to disappoint and drain you. Take gentlemen's clubs as well, avenues of torment that they are. It's psychological disruption of your own making. You're voting for it. It's like putting a delicious sweet near your mouth and then withdrawing it at the last minute, like teasing a tiger trapped in a pen. This unrequited energy can only cause harm and frustration if you don't redirect it in some useful manner. We can often become addicted to the dopamine rush, the self-gratification that comes from watching certain types of content, and the other content I mentioned a moment ago. It isn't healthy for your mind or body. I would advise that you only engage in this activity once or twice per week maximum. If you can build up to this from wherever you are at the moment, it will be a great start. Napoleon Hill in his masterwork Think and Grow Rich, and I'll include a link in the description here, devotes chapter 11 to the topic of ST. It is, however, rather vague when it comes to practical application of the theory. Despite this, it does outline the fundamental case for ST in optimizing your courage, creative thinking, resourcefulness and vitality. In fact, he even goes as far as to say that ST can turn mediocrity into genius, a fact that is surely not to be ignored. The need for intimacy is a powerful stimulant for our minds, but we can repurpose that desire towards career, fame, money, talent, skill acquisition, philanthropy, all in aid of creating the type of life that we want. Napoleon himself said the following on the topic: when harnessed and redirected along other lines, this motivating force maintains all of its attributes of keenness of imagination, courage, etc., which may be used as powerful creative forces in literature, art, or in any other profession or calling, including, of course, the accumulation of riches. He goes on to say, fortunate indeed is the person who has discovered how to give sex emotion an outlet through some form of creative effort, for he has by that discovery lifted himself to the status of a genius. Very powerful words, I think you'll agree. My own experiments and those of the burgeoning NF community on Reddit, I'm sure you know which one I'm talking about, and elsewhere, has indicated that you can get much more work done and of a higher quality when refraining from self-stimulation. You possess greater vigour and vitality, your mind isn't distracted or lethargic, and your mental stamina is enhanced, in my view. It is very easy to fall into a cycle of overdoing it, of not valuing your reproductive resources appropriately, whether by yourself or with a partner. These days, so many men are dependent on adult entertainment, OnlyFans garbage, Instagram models and so on, that they are almost desensitized to women. What you'll notice, if you tactically control your release to maybe once or twice per week, is that you will often be turned on by mundane occurrences in day-to-day life. If you can get over the initial few days, avoid the urge to stimulate and put adult entertainment to one side, you should start to see effects. And I believe Elliot Hulse has done videos very recently on this topic, about valuing your own physical resources. In my teenage years and early 20s, there was a lot of unrequited energy, and this began at school. I learned back then, almost by accident, that as well as sorting things out for myself, as it were, it was also possible to find a use for that energy doing basically anything else. And these were my embryonic experiences of applying ST as a youngster, and I didn't even know what it was. I just came across it by accident. You know, there was a girl I've spoken about in a few videos now who I was pretty much obsessed with because I didn't know any better, and it caused a great deal of frustration. Just watching her date all these other guys who were a little bit older, and most of them were losers, and there was a lot of pent-up frustration there in that early phase of my life. And what I decided to do, when I got into it, it wasn't a case of doing it purely to highlight myself and make myself more important or more prominent in her eyes with the aim of trying to sort of woo her. That was absolutely not the point. The point was to redirect that pent-up frustration and energy, because there were occasions where she would actually like tease me in class and things like that, and because she knew the way I was feeling at the time, and it was deliberate. So I just put all of my energies into, instead of just constant obsession with that sort of those desires, I would say, right, I'm going to practice for however many hours it was, 3 or 4 hours a night, get in from school, do the work, do the homework, whatever needed to be done, get into the music room, break open the amp, get it switched on, get some exercises, warm up, and then say, right, what song am I going to learn today? I'd be playing along to songs. I think that was the best way to learn for me, trying to play along to my favourite records. I then started having lessons, maybe one a week, but the bulk of it was my own learning, my own drive to succeed. But I think I gained a lot from repurposing that emotion and that unrequited energy into wanting to become better at something else entirely. So you completely like rediverting that energy and that frustration and that drive. And it's absolutely possible. It's possible for anybody to learn it. And one prominent example of a great man who knowingly or unknowingly practiced this strategy as well was Nikola Tesla. And I'm going to do a full video on him, a complete analysis about his life in the very near future. I've included some links in the description box below. One to a great article that breaks down the topic of ST in a bit more detail than I have, using a more distance perspective. I've also provided a link to an interview with Mike Tyson about his period of abstinence when he was turning the heavyweight boxing division into mincemeat, en route to becoming the youngest world champion ever. His example during these early years of his career is one of mastering your biological urge to reproduce and instead direct that towards becoming a monster of performance. And I think you can find a lot of value in that video. So I've included those links down below. I'd also like to hear your thoughts on the practice of ST and whether you're actually involved in it or not. So let me know in the comments below. As always, thanks for listening, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. See you next time.